that not in a broad sense for the nation. And I think the American people in general, they say thank veterans for their service. They want to thank people for what they did overseas, and at the same time, they're more than happy to point out, oh, you went into an unjust and maybe an evil war that was backing the military-industrial complex, a bunch of financial gains for some evil corporations that just seemed to be, trading in blood and transferring it out for oil. And so there was a lot of instinct that people said, hey, could we just maybe take a pause? Could we get a couple years in between to rekit and retool? And oddly enough, even though Joe Biden did a disastrous withdrawal, and he did, and it cost 13 American lives, Donald Trump has now been able to have a death toll that's higher than Biden's, and he's managed to do it in a pretty short while. It's interesting, you guys were talking about the debates that were going on in February. On February 28th, somewhere between February 28th and March the 1st, so as that debate was happening, the Trump administration actually pulled off their website. It's donaldjtrump.com, used to have that platform, the platform that they ran on in 2024, which brought together a really unusual group of people. Like I said, a lot of Democrats crossed the aisle and a lot of Republicans who were thinking, maybe we can't get out of the status quo by doing what we're doing. Maybe we've got to look at an RFK. Maybe we have to consider somebody that's kind of outside the box on that. And they said, we're going to create this coalition. And the coalition of people they want America healthy. They want America financially solvent. They want America interested in America's problems. Donald Trump ran on a domestic agenda. And so for the defining thing to happen in the second, if your second term is all about, if you're going to spend your entire second term trying to figure out what you're going to do in Iran, and you're going to try to go out there and go to war, what looks like, based on what the Secretary of State said, what the President himself said, what the Speaker of the House said, we're going to do this because another country was going to take an action and that was going to compel us to be attacked, and therefore we had to preemptively attack them. All of that is the exact opposite of what the man ran on. And so again, there are people that continue to hold this agenda that was promised and just say, hey, look, man, nobody wants whatever it is you're selling. And Donald Trump is in the business of legacy right now. From everything I can tell, everything that people talked about, he's interested in how are people going to remember him. They're going to remember him as a guy that basically caved to the neocon war machine that has been in operation for 25 plus years. And it looks like it's ready to swing back into power because that's what they know.
And got us into the worst war ever.
Yeah, and it's going to just swing us back in because that's what it knows. And so, it's like we've exhausted a bunch of munitions. We're going to have to rekit and retool. Everybody thinks that we're giving all this money to Israel. At the end of the day, we give Israel money to buy American products. So we're actually giving money back to American.
Okay, I solved the problem. The last video I made, you were not able to hear the people speaking. I have solved that problem now. So now I'm trying to work out the camera issues. But other than that, we are good to go. We're back up and we're running now. So I'm sorry about that last video I made, guys. I'm thinking about just disabling it because you can't hear the other people speaking. You can only just hear me talking on it. So I'm just checking. I need to
companies that make things for war. So if that's what our economy needs to be able to kick it back into high gear, I think that's where Donald Trump's mind must go. But it doesn't seem like he's driving the ship.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's the exact
because
opposite
the energy prices have exploded. Yeah, they've done the actuaries. The amount of money we're making off woke weapons is nothing near to the cost of inflation and what's happening.
There is a massive sale going on right now at thealexjonesstore.com. Huge. Ultimate summer sale. 50% off Ultimate Power, Freedom, Mango, and Patriot Punch. Methylene Red capsules. This is a proprietary product. It would take an hour to get into Ultra Methylene Red. The capsules are now in. Mind Fueled Nootropic Energy Shots, all 50% off. 40% off Zeolite Tincture, detoxifying upper spike protein and It's good for your whole body, getting heavy metals out. Methylene Blue Tincture, 40% off. CMOS Gummies, 40% off. Shilajit Gummies, 40% off. Methylene Blue Gummies, 40% off. Ultimate Chill, and a whole bunch of other big discounts as well. 30% off all apparel. The widest selection of Patriot shirts of every different design, configuration. It is the widest selection. It's over 800 different shirts. It's ridiculous. The new line that I designed is, I think, pretty good. Rebel Scum since 1776. The Betsy Ross flag, less 1984, more 1776. In muscle shirts, a whole bunch of other really cool stuff now at thealexshowstore.com. I love this lightweight so-called dress shirt, but it's a very special type of shirt from a great manufacturer. We now have the boxer shorts, and they're not boxer like underwear. The classic boxer shorts that aren't long and aren't short. They're just kind of medium. They're my favorite type. I picked these out. I picked the brand. I said, this is the type of short I like. We're adding a lot of new apparel at thealexshowstore.com, and every order right now, it's about to end in the next few days, gets a free mystery t-shirt. You just put your size in, you get a free mystery t-shirt with every order that's $29 or more at thealexjonesstore.com. That is a hell of a deal right now.
So
we've got the Silver Collectible 250-year anniversary with the amazing Jerusalem cross. Those are going to be on soon.
So
thealexjonesstore.com, and you stand with us, and you know that all the great work we're doing is because of you. You are the reason we're here. You are the InfoWar, thealexjonesstore.com.
Appreciate you.
Oddly enough, even though Joe Biden did a disastrous withdrawal, and he did, and it cost 13 American lives, Donald Trump has now been able to have a death toll that's higher than Biden's, and he's managed to do it in a pretty short while. If you're going to spend your entire second term trying to figure out what you're going to do in Iran, and you're going to try to go out there and go to war, what looks like, based on what the Secretary of State said, what the President himself said, what the Speaker of the House said, we're going to do this because another country was going to take an action, and that was going to compel us to be attacked, and therefore we had to preemptively attack them. All of that is the exact opposite of what the man ran on. And so again, there are people that continue to hold this agenda that was promised, and just say, hey, look, man, nobody wants whatever it is you're selling.
Yeah. So when we voted for Donald Trump this last time, we were hoping no new wars. That was like his big campaign. That was like his big thing. And boy, oh boy, he screwed us there. So I voted for him 3 times. I'm kind of guilty myself here, unfortunately. God, I don't, it's like we voted for no new wars. We put this man in with a mission, and this time he surrounded himself with the swamp. He knew who these people were. I mean, he absolutely had to know this time around what he was getting himself into. And for him to just do us like this time around, honestly, it sucks terribly. I feel so betrayed, and not that I would have voted for Kamala by any means. No way in hell. To get duped this hard, I mean, if you go back and listen to his campaign speeches and everything he has said, compared to where we're at today, it's literally night and day. It's something completely different than the person we voted for. It's this new man, this monster that we've created. Unfortunately, it is our faults too, by the way. We voted him in. We campaigned for him. And here we are. I guess if we only knew, but you can't go back in time. You know, we can only deal with the creation we have now. So there's no going back in time, you know. Yeah, we've done something here, and we're gonna have to deal with it. All right, let's listen to
this. The draft is there. They plan on implementing it. They're saying that the neocons are. How do you respond to that? And what do you think we should do to stop it?
The only way to stop it, if you're going to ask me, is, and this is just my opinion, this is not advice, the people who he drafts, there's going to have to be such a large revolt that literally they can't arrest everybody for simply just saying no and not going along with it. That's the only way. That is literally the only way. How else do you stop it? Somehow get to Donald Trump, get in his ear, and say, "Hey, Mr. President, please stop. Please stop doing this." Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't see that as being a legitimate thing that's going to happen. So, yeah, we're pretty screwed there. Yeah, I don't see a way out of this. I really don't. Unless the only way you get out of this is everybody declines the draft at once.
So I'm a father now of young kids. I mean, my oldest is what? She's 8 years old. Or maybe she just turned 9. I better double check my math on that. My children are young, you know, and they came into this world as we were finishing the last war in theory. A lot of my friends have children that are slightly older. I got started a little bit late in life. And one of the reasons why Trump was appealing is because they'd spent their adult life at war. They wanted to see something different for their kids. There's a lot of military veterans you could talk to and you'd say, "Hey, would you recommend military service for your children?" And many of them said, "Yeah, it made me the person who I was, but I don't like the idea that I'm a weapon system that's going to be pointed at an unknown adversary. At the end of the day, I may not actually agree with the reasons why we're going into conflict." And so, you know, you end up fighting for the person for your left and your right. You end up fighting for the people that, you know, you trained with, that you were in your unit, but that not in a broad sense for the nation. And I think the American people in general, they say thank veterans for their service. They want to thank people for what they did overseas. And at the same time, they're more than happy to point out, "Oh, you went into an unjust and maybe an evil war that was backing the military industrial complex, a bunch of financial gains for some evil corporations that just seem to be, you know, trading in blood and you know, transferring it out for oil." And so there was a lot of instinct that people said, "Hey, could we just maybe take a pause? Can we get a couple years in between to rekit and retool?" And oddly enough, even though Joe Biden did a disastrous withdrawal, and he did, and it cost 13 American lives, Donald Trump has now been able to have a death toll that's higher than Biden's, and he's managed to do it in a pretty short while. It's interesting, you guys were talking about the debates that were going on in February. On February 28th, somewhere between February 28th and March the 1st, so as that debate was happening, the Trump administration actually pulled off their website. It's donaldjtrump.com, used to have that platform, the platform that they ran on in 2024, which brought together a really unusual group of people. Like I said, a lot of Democrats crossed the aisle and a lot of Republicans who were thinking, maybe we can't get out of the status quo by doing what we're doing. Maybe we've got to look at an RFK. Maybe we have to consider somebody that's kind of outside the box on that. And they said, we're going to create this coalition. And the coalition of people they want America healthy. They want America financially solvent. They want America interested in America's problems. Donald Trump ran on a domestic agenda.
A domestic agenda that we have not gotten whatsoever. Almost. Okay. He has come through on a few items. A couple. I mean, it's been rough. Let's just put it that way. It's been very, very, very rough. And the small things that he has pushed through, I give credit for, but at the same time, what are we doing? You know what I mean? Like, they're not big enough for me to set aside what's going on in Iran. It's not big enough for me to set aside the Epstein files. It's not big enough for me to set these major blunders aside that you promised during your campaign and then haven't came through with. It's not big enough for me to set aside the top issues that are plaguing our country right now. And the Republican Party, I don't just blame Donald Trump. The Republican Party has been weak, feckless. You have the House, you have the Senate, and the presidency again. And you squander it. You squander our time, you squander our lives, and a new world order is looming ever closer. We are running out of time, ladies and gentlemen. We have to the year 2030 pretty much before they kick in the rest of their agenda. They don't call it Agenda 2030, or now it's called something else 2030, but Project 2030, I believe. They're not squandering time, you better believe it. You better believe the whole time behind the scenes they are putting together problem, reaction, solution. And not just one, probably 5, 10, who knows, for God's sakes. I hate to give these people credit for more than what maybe they're doing, but at this point in time, we have to assume that that is what they're doing. Because if we don't, we will be screwing ourselves. Because there's absolutely no way they are not thinking about multiple ways to implement what's to come. Digital ID, CBDC, a total net surveillance state, which, that's what these data centers are. And Donald Trump, we got to remember, he just okayed all that. He just pushed that data center stuff straight through. He shoved it straight up our butt. So that's another issue I got with him. The data centers, the war, the files, the Epstein files. These are all legitimate, high level, high tier things that we have the right to be upset about. You know what I mean? Like, okay, if he was fixing the economy, and really putting a serious effort into it, fixing the roads, fixing our infrastructure, fixing our school system, I might be able to set some of those other issues aside and talk about that real stuff right there. You know what I mean? Like, I might be able to actually kind of go, yeah, okay, I get it. I see what you're doing. Problem is, though, I can't see what you're doing because you're not doing anything of substantial measure to take away the real issues that are plaguing us. You're giving us these small wins. And I heard Crowder the other day, Steven Crowder, he was talking about the transgender thing and how that is a big deal. And they're using that to divide and conquer us. Growing up, transgenderism wasn't even in our vocabulary. It for sure was nothing in our schools, and I'm older. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. but there were gay people, and that was fine. We had no problem with it. Now, did we mess around? Yeah, oh, we were kids, we say stupid stuff. But our goal wasn't to hurt somebody with it. It was just jokingly, And the point of it is, it was never like this huge issue, though. It wasn't gay kids need rights. They already had rights. They had the same rights as us. They always have. Transgenders, nobody's taking their rights. I don't think it's a right for you to participate in a woman's sport as a man. Because even if you want to be a woman, yeah, that's fine. Whatever you do in your personal time, but you're still physically stronger, faster, and you have a thing called testosterone, which is going to give you the edge. And I don't think that that's fair. So, yeah, he did get rid of that out of women's sports. He did get rid of that out of women's sports. I'll give him credit there. Initially, he was doing good. Gas was down to $2 a gallon, and now it's skyrocketed back up to $4 a gallon. Like it's doubled. The price of a loaf of bread at the grocery store, $3 for a loaf of bread. I used to, not that long ago, and this might sound crazy to some of you guys, there's this store near us, gas station, and they used to give good deals, man. You could go in there, and I think it was like for $1.50, you could get 2 loaves. For $1.50, you could get a carton of eggs for 99 cents. I mean, they had to be on sale. Normally, I think they were like $2.50 or something like that. But they would have specials, 99-cent carton of eggs. Like I don't see that anymore. And when I do see it, it's very, few far and in between. I used to be able to get a gallon of milk for like $2.59. I remember. Now it's $4.99 a gallon. I remember, and I don't drink much of it, but a Mountain Dew. I used to go and get a Mountain Dew, $1.09, $1.25. Now it's $2.59 for a 20 ounce of sugar water. I mean, that's ridiculous. Get out of here. What are we talking about? He's been very lenient towards these companies who haven't done anything for us. They haven't given us nothing. And it's sad. It's a very sad day in America, and we have a very limited time to stop whatever is coming. And if the Democrats get back in control, the demon rats, as I like to call them, if they get back in control, we're done for. That'd be it. I feel like we're at the end of the rope, the proverbial end of the rope. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how else to put that necessarily. Our time is limited, and it is slipping away day by day by day. And if we don't do something, that time will be gone, and we'll be begging for these moments back. And it feels like such a wasted vote on somebody who said one thing and has completely done another.
And so for the defining thing to happen in the second, if your second term is all about, if you're going to spend your entire second term trying to figure out what you're going to do in Iran, and you're going to try to go out there and go to war, what looks like, based on what the Secretary of State said, what the president himself said, what the Speaker of the House said, we're going to do this because another country was going to take an action, and that was going to compel us to be attacked, and therefore we had to preemptively attack them. All of that is the exact opposite of what the man ran on. And so again, there are people that continue to hold this agenda that was promised and just say, hey, look, man, nobody wants whatever it is you're selling. And Donald Trump is in the business of legacy right now. From everything I can tell, everything that people talked about, he's interested in how are people going to remember him. They're going to remember him as a guy that basically caved to the neocon war machine that has been in operation for 25 plus years. And it looks like it's ready to swing back into power because that's what they know.
And got us into the worst war ever.
Yeah, and it's going to just swing us back in because that's what it knows. And so, it's like we've exhausted a bunch of munitions. We're going to have to rekit and retool. Everybody thinks that we're giving all this money to Israel. At the end of the day, we give Israel money to buy American products. So we're actually giving money back to American companies that make, things for war. So if that's what our economy needs to be able to kick it back into high gear, I think that's where Donald Trump's mind must go. But it doesn't seem like he's driving the ship.
It's not working.
Yeah, it's the exact
because
opposite
the
of what he
energy
promised,
prices have exploded. Yeah, they've done the actuaries. The amount of money we're making off weapons is nothing near to the cost of inflation and what's happening.
There is a massive sale going on right now at thealexjonesstore.com. Huge. Ultimate summer sale. 50% off Ultimate Power, Freedom, Mango, and Patriot Punch. Methylene Red capsules. This is a proprietary product. It would take an hour to get into Ultra Methylene Red. The capsules are now in Mind Fueled Nootropic Energy Shots, all 50% off. 40% off Zeolite Tincture, detoxifying, go up spike protein, and it's good for your whole body, getting heavy metals out. Methylene Blue Tincture, 40% off. CMOS Gummies, 40% off. Shilajit Gummies, 40% off. Methylene Blue Gummies, 40% off. Ultimate Chill, and a whole bunch of other big discounts as well. 30% off all apparel. The widest selection of Patriot shirts of every different design, configuration. It is the widest selection. It's over 800 different shirts. It's ridiculous. The new line that I designed is, I think, pretty good. Rebel Scum since 1776. The Betsy Ross flag, less 1984, more 1776. In muscle shirts, a whole bunch of other really cool stuff now at thealexjonesstore.com. I love this lightweight.
Yeah, so we are at a turning point here, and I don't mean to use Charlie Kirk's, what do we got here? Oh, no, I don't want a part of that. We are truly at a turning point right now, guys. We have very little time left. And the guy we hired to change this for us, I don't want to say he's completely flipped, but he's not the man we gave the job to. That's for sure. Somebody got to him in that office. And I hate to say that, and I hate to be that guy, but somebody, some sort of money, I think we know who I'm talking about here. Some sort of money exchange happened here. Just my thoughts, personal thoughts. And he lost a lot during the first election. They came after him really hard. And then he surrounded himself with the swamp again. And by doing that, he screwed us. So I don't know. I don't know where we stand. I think this is Lindsey Graham's funeral here. Lindsey Graham. I didn't hate the man. I didn't know the man. He wasn't my senator, so I don't know exactly what to make of it. You know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like Lindsey was a bad person in any way. Oh, sorry. But I definitely think he was working for another team, and it was not Team America. Excuse me, guys. Sorry, I got a frog in my throat today. Yeah, Lindsey was not working for Team America initially. He was working for Team I don't know. So, yeah. Crazy. Absolutely insane. And We need better representation than that. And then they just put his sister in. How can that be legal? How can they just throw his sister in there like that? You know what I'm saying? And like, don't they have to do another election and actually do something? I don't get it.
People who are not a citizen would vote in our elections.
The Save America Act is something that 83% of the voters in this country support.
83% of the American people would like to see voter ID when you go to the polls.
This is something the American...
That's another thing. You have to have a driver's license. You have to have ID just to buy cigarettes from a gas station, to buy alcohol, to drive a car. You have to have ID to go to the library. Okay? It's not like you're being asked for anything special here. If you have to have an ID to do all that, why should you not have an ID to vote? And here, the problem with it is this. They let 15 to 20 million unlawful people into our country, that were not, like brought in legally, right? Okay. The minute you do that, there should definitely be a requirement for voters to have a voter ID. Every vote that they cast, whether it's in our favor or not, and just to be fair and honest, even if they all voted Republican, right? That wouldn't matter. That's still unfair. That's still taking a vote away from somebody who was born here, somebody who's here legally, even if you weren't born here, but you came here legitimately, you sacrificed and came here legit.
People have said, we want...
You were getting your vote stolen, basically, for every one of them that vote illegally. And the only people who want that, and it's shameless, are the people who benefit from it. And it's sad. Sad. Like, what do you mean? You want anybody and everybody? Okay, well, if they're allowed to vote, how come people across seas aren't allowed to vote? How come somebody in another country is not allowed to vote? Oh, just because they're not standing on the very land? That's bullshit. You and I know that's bullshit.
This.
Tennessee Senator Marsha Blackburn leads her colleagues in urging the Senate to pass the Save America Act.
I led our senators on the floor in pushing forward with just show a voter ID. People have got to prove that they are a U.S. citizen to vote in a U.S. election.
There is no other developed nation that leaves their elections so vulnerable to fraud and manipulation.
83% of the American people are for the Save America Act. Let's get this done. Come on.
And how do we rank number one in election integrity? We show an ID. Republicans are determined to get the Save America Act passed. We do need election reform, and we need to make certain that only citizens are voting, and we should be passing the Save America Act.
We definitely should be.
It's incredible.
Professor Jane, a few months ago, we also had him on the show to talk about this, predicting they would implement the draft in the next few months. And now we're a few months later, and they're getting ready to do it. He certainly was right there.
But America has always had a draft. But for the longest time, it didn't really care whether or not you actually signed for the draft.
That's going to be a nightmare for Gen Z. I feel sorry for those kids because they're not going to come from me. I'm 47. So those poor babies. You know what I mean? Like, I don't mean to call them babies, but they are kind of to me. I mean, they're, I'm 47. I'll be 48 this year, so they're young little puppies to me. They're the ones that are going to have to fight a effing war that they don't want to be involved with. They don't want no part of that. I don't blame them. I mean, for God's sakes, the man promised no new wars. And on top of that, the war that they're going to have to go fight is the most unpopular war since I can't even remember. And we went to Iraq and Afghanistan in my lifetime. We went to Iraq twice in my lifetime. Not to mention probably a bunch of other little ones, but nonetheless, Iraq twice, Afghanistan. The Afghan thing, because of 9/11, that was acceptable in a lot of people's eyes, at least most of the circles I ran in. But Iraq, we never believed any of that. None of the people. Nobody I ever talked to believed any of that. Yeah. The Gen Z, man, they're going to have to figure it out. They should, if they don't want to go, they can't arrest them all. And with the internet these days, they could, and this is not advice, this is just an opinion, they could technically mass protest and just say no way. And only reason why I say it like that, if somebody posed a threat to this actual country where they were like, we're going to hit you with bombs, we're coming for you, Americans, we'll come to your homeland and we're going to get you. Well, I mean, I'd be the first to pick up arms. One of the first. You know what I mean? Like, no problem. I'd be willing to go take front line. This war we're in right now, they don't pose a threat to us. They're not going to nuke us. Let's say Iran had one nuke. Let's say they had two. Let's just throw three in there. They would be annihilated. And they know this. And they're not that psychotic. They know damn well we would hit the middle of one of their cities instantly. They know it. They're not going to sacrifice their people like that. I do not believe, and I've seen no evidence to the contrary of, that they're that psychotic. And I don't think Iran's a bunch of good, like their leadership. I think the people are probably just fine. They're great, good people. Just like us sitting here, like we don't really make the moves the government does. Sorry, guys, I thought I heard a knock. So we don't really, like the government's someone that makes moves. There's nothing they can do about it. There's nothing we can do about it. But at the same time, I just don't think the Iranian government is that suicidal. And by now, as much as they've been bombed, if they had one, and I'm asking this as a genuine question, do you think they would have used it already and just hit Israel? Honestly, I mean, they've been bombed to hell. I don't think we've hit any major city centers, but we definitely have taken out quite a bit. Their Navy, tons of missile silos. I mean, it's been insane. I'm sure you're not loving it if you're living in that country right now. So Yeah. I mean, we've given them a reason to use it if they've had it. I don't think they're that crazy. I really just don't. Until proven different, I'm going to stand on that. All right, now back to him. Let's get back to him. Sorry, guys, I go on these little tangents because it's just so much. You know what I mean? It's just so crazy.
And starting in December, participation in the draft will be automatic, meaning that if you're between 18 to 24 in America and you're male, you'll be automatically put into the draft system.
From when?
I think from December.
This year?
Yes, that is correct, yes.
So between the age of 18 and 25, you think, and what does that really mean? Well, I've not really experienced that in my lifetime. So it means that if you're between the age of 18 and 24, either gender?
No, male.
Male, then you have to sign up for the army.
No, you are already put into a draft.
Oh, you're already, okay, but you might be called upon.
That's right, it's a lottery system.
It is a lottery system, so I didn't know they. Wait, you're automatically signed up for it? I remember back when I turned 18, you had to go sign up for it. I don't remember just being put on it. That's a thing? Actual? Huh.
Respected and loved. The son of South Carolina.
Oh, you giving a eulogy at Lindsey Graham's funeral? I don't want to hear that right now. I'm not going to lie to you guys. That's just kind of upsetting, to be realistic. Not Lindsey Graham's. I mean, no, by all means, give a eulogy. We have so much going on. Oh, and that's another thing, the Charlie Kirk issue. My God, that poor man. What a shame. Took such a good human being away. Wow. I'm seriously flabbergasted on that one. Almost can't believe it. It's crazy. He got took out because he could genuinely reach people. Like his reach, even to a 47-year-old guy like me, I caught myself listening to his speeches, listening to his back and forth. Ooh. Excuse me, guys. I'm tired. I've been up since like 3 o'clock this morning. I had to go to work, so a little tired. He even captured me as an audience, and I'm a 47-year-old man, and I just can't believe how much it's changed. Like you used to be able to have, I had friends that were left and right growing up, and we could have disagreements, agree to disagree type of things. You know what I mean? Oh, okay, yeah, you're stuck on that. I'm stuck on mine. Cool. Let's move on. We'd sit down, play a game of cards together still. Play a game of Monopoly. You know what I mean? Play a video game. Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, something like that. We take it out on that, man. We never came to blows over it, and we didn't let politics run our lives quite that much. Like politics has really captured, and it's by design, divide and conquer. So that's what that is. I mean, it's pretty smart. It's pretty smart, actually. I give them credit. Divide and conquer strategy worked well. Get into the colleges, take over each, college slowly. And we had no plan. You almost can't fault the Democrat Party for doing what the Democrat Party does. The Republicans had no plan. Oh, we got Hillsdale, we got, a couple of our little schools, yeah. But you don't have the accredited ones, really, the real ones. Harvard, Yale, The list goes on. Dartmouth, or whatever, however that's called. You know, we had no plan. We didn't take over certain parts of it, and the Democrats just slowly, through time, incrementally took over parts of these schools, man, and then took over the whole system. How did they get their hands on the whole system with no pushback? Of course, they didn't reveal what they were going to do, but still, my God, did nobody see that coming? I guess not, because they did it, right? You know, and it's so crazy to me. So crazy to me that we did absolutely nothing. Yeah, what an absolute just failure on the Republicans' part. And like, you got all these people, BLM and all the other Antifa, they feel like they can take to the streets and beat on you, kill you, hurt you, do whatever they want to you. No repercussion. Because we've allowed it. We've sat back and we have allowed all this to happen. And by the time it caught up with us, it was too late to stop. And now here we are in the final hours trying to push back. And the barbarians are at the gate trying to send in their last Trojan horse. I don't feel like Donald Trump was the Trojan horse. What they did, though, is they played capture the king with him. His ego. You know, just placing all the right people around him. They're just right enough to where he feels like he can trust them. But their true agenda is something else. I mean, it's been a great capture and control method to a certain extent. I'd really like to know your guys' thoughts on J.D. Vance. I kind of like the guy, but at the same time, I know who backs him. I know who put him in front of Donald Trump. And even though Tucker Carlson likes him, and he gives decent reasoning, and I like him too. I don't think J.D. Vance is a bad person by any means. I think he is a decent human being, and I think he does mean well and want well. I think we're going to have a real problem. Hello? Can you guys see me? Okay. Seems like my camera must have went out. Sorry, guys. I don't know what's going on with that. I'll have to fix it. Okay, well, guess my camera has gone crazy. So, we got this screen. That's fine. I'll have to figure that out later. I don't know what's going on with my camera here, guys, so I'm going to have to figure that out. All right, let's see if I can find something for us to watch real quick here.
Your business against the globalist predatory attacks and shutdowns today. Visit First United Payments now at firstunitedpayments.com and talk to a real human here in the good old US of A by calling toll-free 877-899-1313. That's 877-899-1313. The tyrants are counting on us not to innovate. They're counting on us not to migrate to institutions and organizations that are pro-human just like us. This isn't some new company. I've been using them for almost a decade. They're already taking care of most of the patriots. Whether you're a florist, have a gas station, or you're a farmer, or you've got a little 5 and dime shop or a factory, whatever it is, online merchants, this is the place for you. These guys are patriots, and they're in our corner. They're Americans just like us, and they hate the New World Order with a passion. They believe in the free market, and they understand this is 1776 2.0. 90% of it is information warfare and financial. And this is just as important as the right to self-defense and guns. You've got to be able to have your own business. You've got to be able to operate without these globalist sharks, this mafia shutting you down. And First United Payments is the tip of the spear. Proven warriors, ladies and gentlemen, in this fight. Thank you so much. Now visit firstunitedpayments.com right now.
Days, weeks, and even years ahead of the news cycle. AlexJonesLive.com is tomorrow's news today.
Sorry, guys, I'm trying to fix this camera issue.
All right, welcome back, folks. This is the War Room. I hope you support us by going to thealexjonesstore.com right now. The Ultimate Summer Sale is on. You're getting massive discounts on things like Shilajit gummies, the methylene blue gummies, 30% off methylene blue capsules, colostrum, creatine powder, Shilajit gummies, turmeric gummies, and the CMOS capsules. 40% off methylene blue tincture. And we have a whole new lineup of Summer 26 limited edition collection clothes. And, you know, of course, our shirts are awesome. The designs are always awesome. But I really like some of the new stuff that we have, because we have like swim trunks and shorts and, you know, button downs with little, you know, flag patches, sort of more stuff than people who don't just want to, you know, buy or wear t-shirts. There's a little something for everybody at the Alex Jones Store. Go to thealexjonesstore.com/Harrison to let them know who sent you. And we will go to as many calls as we can during this last segment here. Let's finish up with Jefferson, since we got cut off there. But yeah, low energy nuclear reactors, I think, are a very good thing to pursue. I mean,
all right, guys, I'm gonna call it there. I gotta get off here and find out what's going on with my camera here, which I don't understand is what's going on here. So thank you guys for coming. I will be back tomorrow. Appreciate you guys, and I will see you tomorrow. Thank you for coming in. Sundown, and you guys have a wonderful day. Peace out.